Well, good morning. It's Thursday. I said yesterday it was day two, but I guess it was actually day three yesterday of the quarantine. You see how quickly you start losing track of where everything is once you're starting to lose your routines. But here we are at day four. I guess it's day four. I mean, really, they started making decisions last week, but today's really the fourth day that things have been very different. So day four, day five, day seven, day one of the rest of my life. No, okay, all right. So anyway, I I had a significant thing happen last night, and it was nothing. And like I opened up Facebook and nearly just threw my phone yesterday because I saw someone posted we had a tornado watch in going through our county. It wasn't near us, but it was going through Fort Worth. And I just said, "Can we not? Can you don't? Can we just skip this part where it's like it feels like the end of the absolute earth?" Because I mean, we have this this virus that we're making a big deal out of. There's financial troubles going on. There was an earthquake yesterday in Utah, and like there's locusts someplace, and so I it's obvious where people's minds go right then. But what didn't happen last night was a storm, and I was really grateful for it because whenever we have thunderstorms, I end up having to sleep on the couch because the dog comes and puts her very cold, very wet nose into my armpit to let me know, hey, hey, it's loud outside, and I'm terrified because she's afraid of lightning, and she's so afraid of lightning that if I don't take her out of the bedroom, she will chew on the door handle until we let her back into the bedroom, or I'll go back out to the living room and sit and comfort her for a while, and she will just tremble and shake and tremble and shake. Mostly she's gun shy, so thunder sounds like guns, I guess. In any case, it's okay to be afraid. And that's what I've come down to is she's a good dog, she's a good guard dog, good house guard. But, dogs are pretty pure in the way that they experience things. They don't let a sensation translate into another sensation. That's one of our problems is that, as soon as the the whole virus scare started to set in, people didn't want to deal with being afraid. So they got mad, they got snarky, most of us got really sarcastic and just blasted memes out into the stratosphere. I mean, like, I did share this one which said that the coronavirus memes are spreading faster than the actual virus. Um, but I mean, no one likes to be afraid. And we need to come back to the idea that it's okay to be afraid. It's not okay to let our decisions be made out of fear. And it's not okay to dwell in fear. But it is okay to be afraid. And that's important. It's important to remember to know that it's okay to be afraid because you can process fear. It is almost impossible to process fear that has mutated into anger because you ask, "What are you so angry about?" And you don't know because you're afraid. Going to Kids Beach Club one day, we were talking about courage. And guys, you know, not for nothing, those little people drive me nuts sometimes. I work with the fifth and sixth grade boys, and they are wild. They are crazy, and they show up, and it's like they've been holding in their attention span problems all day. They get into that gym, they're like like a coiled spring. They get in there, and it's like, control? No, I don't have control. I'm just trying to keep all of their blood inside of their bodies for the time that they're with me. Every now and then, something brilliant sneaks out when we're talking. And so we were talking about courage. And so I asked the guys, "How do you define courage?" And one of these boys said, "Well, I feel like you can't have courage unless there's something to be afraid of." And that struck me something powerful, something fierce. You can't have courage unless there's something to be afraid of. Just by the way, have you ever noticed how many times you touch your face until you're not supposed to touch your face? I mean, I'm here at home and like my hands have been cleaned so many times that my knuckles are falling off. But yeah, anyway, you can't have courage unless there's something to be afraid of. And that's why it's okay to be afraid, because we have a response that we are being developed to grow. God is teaching us courage because there really are, truly are things to be afraid of. And don't worry about the whole, like, this might actually be the end of the world. No, every generation has had something come along where we go, whoa, is he coming today? Like, maybe, probably not. I don't know. But it's just one of those things where we get afraid at a certain point in time and we want things to make sense. And that's one of the things that causes fear, is things don't make sense. And so it's okay to be afraid, but don't stay there. So I'm going to put together a couple of Bible verses that talk about not being afraid. And it recognizes the fact that fear, reasons to fear, were there. I mean, look at every time the angels show up. Every single time the angels show up, the first thing they have to say is, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Because they're kind of scary. But we don't dwell in fear. And you may have seen a lot of people throwing out the verse, especially like, we have not been given a spirit of fear. We've also not been given a spirit of beat people over the head with Bible verses. Okay, if you see people who are afraid, that is not an opportunity to shame them. That is an opportunity to come alongside of them and to help them process through the fear and awaken courage. If you use the verse, God has not given us a spirit of fear, and then you start to work in to shame someone about that, you are using the Bible the same way that the Pharisees used Scripture to murder Jesus. Okay, don't be a Jesus murderer. Be a Jesus love spreader. That's a word now. Copyright Damien. The point is, everybody's afraid at some point or another, some measure or another. We got to deal with it. We got to work through it. And we have to do it together, and we have to do it together in a new, different way, because we're all almost literally in our own little bubbles right now. So, spend some time. I cut some pretty sweet tunes on a GarageBand jam here, and I'm gonna throw some scripture verses up on the screen. Spend some time. If you need to, pause the video, go to where these verses are picked from, read the entire context of it. They're really rich places to look through the times that God's people have been legitimately afraid. And he has legitimately come alongside of them and taught them how to deal with their fear and to be people of courage and people of hope. So, love you guys.